Yeah, it's such a changing market in the entire OTT space that you all are in. What changed in the past 1 year? What are the changes that you see?
I think the first big change, not only in the last year, but I would say over the last couple of years, has been that the uh, appetite for content that consumers have, our viewers has grown
Gone
exponentially.
up. Okay.
What's also been interesting is how people are streaming content in different languages.
Do you all keep a very close watch on subscription growth? Does that grow from title to title, or when something big is coming? How does that work?
The extent may differ depending on what the size and scale of the show or movie is, but we see the metrics move with every new piece of content.
What is competition like? Because there's a choice of OTT platforms. There's a choice. I mean, even for the industry, every actor I speak to is turning producer. That's for them also. They have a choice. Ye nahi to ye, nahi to ye. Like whoever gives us more money. I don't know how that works. But how is competition for you all?
Largely very focused on what we should be doing for our customers, for our viewers, and what's the best entertainment that we can create for them. So a little less focused on what competition is doing. I think generally speaking, the way the country's embraced streaming has been lovely, and it's across different services, and that's a healthy sign. If people sort of adopt streaming and enjoy different stories, it's just good for the industry.
How's your experience been working with Bollywood? It's an industry that we need it. We need the numbers. We need their names. People run their production houses. How's your experience been in the industry?
Bollywood, I mean, broadly, the film industry has embraced streaming, whether it is talent in front of the camera or behind the camera, has been pretty encouraging. Whether it's Call Me Bae, whether it is Family Man or Mirzapur, these are all shows which have been developed with people who started off originally in the movies, right? So that's been a very positive experience. And on the other hand, equally positive has been our experience with people who were not sort of center of plate Bollywood, who were probably on the fringes or new or come from the digital world. And those people have also delivered great successes. I think Panchayat is a fantastic example.
Nikhil, welcome to Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you.
Good to see you. It was a very interesting year last year, 2024. What stood out for you all? What were the highlights for Prime Video in 2024?
Firstly, thank you for having me here. 2024 was very good for us, actually, a brilliant year. A bunch of highlights. I think the first one was that some of our we sort of added about 1,400 titles onto the service between Indian content, international content across the hub. So our selection really increased significantly. But most importantly, some of our most beloved franchises which were coming back, like Mirzapur and Panchayat, they did really, really well. And we put out a few success call-outs as well. But for example, Mirzapur was on its opening weekend the most watched Prime Video original ever on the service. So great love for that.
That's great, yeah.
We also got back a few international series back, like Reacher, etc. Those did well. Citadel Honey Bunny was a extension of the Citadel franchise that got extended. Then, on the other hand, we created some really unique new franchises as well. Call Me Bae was a big hit for us. We're developing season 2 right now. So that was, really refreshing. In Tamil, we had Inspector Rishi, which turned out to be our most successful Tamil original till date.
Okay.
We had Rana Daggubati show in Telugu, which also did really well. And of course, in unscripted, we had things like Angry Young Men, so much love for that series, and Urfi show, Follow Kar Lo Yaar, and of course, a show that we're very proud of, Poacher, that Richie Mehta had created.
Yes.
So a lot of successes, a lot of new successes, returning franchises, new experiments tried, a variety of content introduced. So all in all, a really happy year for us.
Great, yeah. It's such a changing market. In the entire OTT space that you all are in, what changed in the past 1 year? What are the changes that you see?
I think the first big change, not only in the last year, but I would say over the last couple of years, has been that the appetite for content that consumers have, our viewers has grown exponentially.
Gone up. Okay.
In fact, one of the jokes inside the organization is we worked really hard for 2-3 years to bring a franchise. People watch it over one weekend, and then like, when's the next season coming, right? So their expectation of new content, of returning seasons, I think that has really increased. What's also been interesting is how people are streaming content in different languages. So all our stories, about 60% of our viewers stream our shows and movies in 4 different languages. So whether it's coming from Tamil cinema, Hindi, international, Spanish, German, they're watching subtitles, they're watching dubs. Just the repertoire of the kind of content they're consuming has gone up quite dramatically. So that's been a big change. And I think the third piece, which has been at the core of streaming, is that the opportunity for new talent, whether it's in front of the camera or behind the camera, that's only continued to increase, and people have embraced them in wonderful ways, which is really, really encouraging for the industry as a trend.
Wow. Since you mentioned, international titles, they're watching the subtitle version and all. Which ones of the popular international franchise and titles did well in India?
So Jack Ryan did really well. Citadel Diana also did really well. There are Idea of You, Maxton Hall, Kalpa Mia, Kalpa Tuya. Lots of these international titles have been really sort of breaking through. In fact, Maxton Hall is one of our most successful franchises globally, which has done well all over the world. And it's a non-sort of English show coming out of our international originals portfolio. And it did really well in India as well. So a lot of consumption of international content, of course, local content has always been the bedrock. So those have done well.
Right. So these shows do well in particular markets like urban cities or something, or they just do well across India?
That's a great question. So overall, as a service, Prime Video, we're getting viewers from about 99% of the pin codes in the country. So that's how widely distributed the service has become. And so different shows and movies are basically being watched across the country in so many different small cities. So it's no longer just an urban phenomenon in that sense. Yeah.
And the shows that you all make here, which we enjoy, is the world also sitting and watching that? Do you all get a feedback from there?
So let me answer in 2 ways. I think the first is absolutely. Almost about a fourth of our viewership for our local originals comes from outside the country.
Oh, wow.
And that's not just like the Indian diaspora watching it, but it is people from different countries, right from Spain to Germany to South America. And sometimes they're watching it in the local dubs, sometimes they're watching in subtitles. So that's really encouraging. I do feel that overall for the industry though, that one sort of really big global hit that captures the imagination of the entire globe, like we've seen with some Korean content, that is yet to happen. So that's a challenge that we want to sort of live up to. But the journey has been really good, and it's every year, the consumption has been increasing in all parts of the world.
Right. Do you all keep a very close watch on subscription growth? Does that grow from title to title, or when something big is coming? How does that work?
So both new subscribers, which are an important metric, as well as engagement of our existing viewers are both important. We generally tend to see that both the metrics sort of move together. And most of if something is being loved, you will see a lot of people on the service watching it. You will also see a lot of people joining the service to watch it. The extent may differ depending on what the size and scale of the show or movie is, but we see the metrics move with every new piece of content. And it's not always the case that the most expensive one is the one that generates the most amount of love. Actually, it's at the heart, authentic, rooted story that people love. They're not really concerned about how much it costs to produce or who's starring in it. If they connect with it, that's what really drives this.
Wow, so shows like Panchayat, these were the shows that was Prime Video surprised that these kind of rooted shows became the biggest hit, and Prime Video for a lot of us got to be known for solid content because of these kind of shows.
It's so encouraging that these stories which are put together with people who at that time were not well known. Of course, now they're sort of all of them are big stars. how well the viewers and the country receive them.
Yeah.
In fact, we've just put out a poster for a show called Dupaiya, which is another really lovely rooted story set in a small crime-free village in India, where something very interesting happens, where a motorcycle, which is a Dupaiya, gets stolen.
Okay.
So here's a village which has been crime-free for 25 years,
Right.
and it's about to get a big reward, and the motorcycle gets stolen. So what will happen next?
Right.
And we feel that these kind of, it's such a fresh story brought to us by two young talented women, Shiv Dasani and Salona Benz Joshi.
Right.
And when they brought it to us, we were like, this is a story we totally have to back.
Right.
So that's another one in the same milieu that is upcoming. 7th March is
Right.
when we launch.
So, so will you all always balance this? There'll be a Dopaya, there's a very glossy Call Me Bay that gets you the numbers as well, and a lot of talk. Do you all want to keep this balance?
Absolutely, because the content choices are so diverse, right? India is a diverse country. Just center of plate doesn't work. You need to be able to address different cohorts of people,
Correct.
whether it is by language preference, genre preference, the tone and tonality of the show. And I think that variety is what keeps us top of mind for viewers. So absolutely, yeah. There's a space for Call Me Bay, there's a space for Dupaiya, there's a space for Mirzapur, A Family Man, a Patal Lok.
Right. What is competition like? Because there's a choice of OTT platforms. There's a choice. I mean, even for the industry, every actor I speak to is turning producer. That's for them also. They have a choice. Ye nahi to ye, nahi to ye. Like whoever gives us more money. I don't know how that works. But how is competition for you all right now?
Rohit, the truth of the matter is the way Amazon thinks as an organization globally, and also with Prime Video, we're largely very focused on what we should be doing for our customers, for our viewers, and what's the best entertainment that we can create for them. So a little less focused on what competition is doing. I think generally speaking, the way the country has embraced streaming has been lovely, and it's across different services, and that's a healthy sign. If people sort of adopt streaming and enjoy different stories, it's just good for the industry. I think by way of producers turning actors, etc., I was just reading about someone who said that sometimes they have stories or ideas which they don't have other producers backing, so they want to become producers themselves and bring those stories. I think it's a really good one. It just demonstrates the passion that those actors have for that story. And that passion actually converts into great storytelling. It's a very important part of what we look for when we are looking to greenlight a story. Who is the maker and how passionate they are about it. It doesn't matter if you're a well-known name or if you're a newcomer. But in the pitch meeting, you can actually see it in the eyes. You can see it in the material that they've developed, how well they've thought through those characters. So I think it's a good sign.
It's a great sign.
It's a great sign, actually.
Right. How does Prime Video greenlight what we'll finally make? Because so many people must be coming up with ideas, big stars, big name, big producers, but finally, what is the decision?
So the first thing is, is the story unique and fresh and authentic? That's extremely important because we are developing such a vast array of stories, so it should feel new to our own pipeline. Forget what's happened in other places. It should feel authentic. It should feel rooted because, especially in the series world, world building is very important.
Right.
Authentic characters, authentic worlds. That's when people sort of believe in the story and the character and then follow their journey. So that's a very important part of the greenlight decision. The second, as I said, how passionate are these makers? Why do they want to tell the story? Why is now the right time? And a lot of times the answers to these questions come from the creators themselves because they've thought through it. I think if those two questions are in place, then we're actively looking to back those stories. Obviously, we are getting far in excess of what we are able to, given our resources, produce in a year. So there are many times that we're not able to bring the story on our service, maybe because we're already doing something like this, or the pipeline is full. And sometimes we miss out on those opportunities for other reasons. But as far as possible, we really want to tell authentic stories backed by passionate creators, and that's the sort of a magic sauce, if you can call it.
True. How's your experience been working with Bollywood? It's an industry that one, we need it. We need the numbers. We need their names. The way they have so many different styles. There's a family-run setup. There are different ways of people run their production houses. How's your experience been in the industry?
Actually, our experience been quite positive.
Okay.
The way even Bollywood has embraced streaming, and I'm by Bollywood I mean broadly the film industry has embraced streaming, whether it is talent in front of the camera or behind the camera, has been pretty encouraging. Some of the shows that you've mentioned, whether it's Call Me Babe, whether it is Family Man or Mirzapur, these are all shows which have been developed with people who started off originally in the movies, right? So that's been a very positive experience. And on the other hand, equally positive has been our experience with people who are who were not sort of center of plate Bollywood, who were probably on the fringes or new or come from the digital world, and those people have also delivered great successes. I think Panchayat is a fantastic example. Dubai is a show that we're really looking forward to. Yeah, so I think even with Patal Lok, what Sudeep Sharma created, absolutely brilliant show. I mean, something that we're really proud of. So we've tried to play in through the entire gamut, and we've had largely positive experiences across. And one of the signs for that is that a lot of the people who have worked with us once want to come back and work with us again.
Right.
So that means their experience with Prime Video has been really good, and our experience with them has been great. A fantastic example are Pushkar and Gayatri in Tamil. They've done
very talented.
Yeah, very talented. They've done the first season of Sudal. The second season is about to launch. They also did Vadandi. Again, the second season for that is under production. So, great example across languages of people coming to us who've originally been filmmakers but then want to work with Prime Video again and again.
Right. When did you, since you said the film industry has also embraced you, when did this happen? Because a couple of years ago, the industry saw OTT as competition, that OTT is not letting our films release in the theatre. We have crossed that stage. They have now understood that this is just another platform and not competition to our theatres.
I think India is a and market, not an or market. So there will be a vibrant theatrical business, equally vibrant and growing streaming business. And there's also television.
Yeah.
So I think the combination of these three create a healthy, vibrant ecosystem for everyone to contribute. And you're absolutely right, especially during streaming, when cinema, during the pandemic, when the cinemas were shut, OTT became a great outlet, mechanism for people to get connected to stories, for these movies to release. And so now we see that it's actually a healthy intermix. So there are movies which are releasing on the service directly. There are movies that we take digital rights for. There are movies that now we are entering where we are producing movies that we want to take to theaters first, which is a sign of our actual belief in the overall ecosystem.
Right. Theatrical is another ball game altogether. Will you all always have this balance, that you all will release some in the theatre, some maybe that you all completely believe in?
Yeah, so movies are a very important part of our a pillar of our content strategy. And if you see, we started first with taking digital rights for theatrical movies. Then during the pandemic, we started releasing movies directly on the service. I think, if I'm not mistaken, something like 65 titles released directly on the service. We also do a lot of co-productions with established producers where we jointly produce movies. So I think our journey of taking movies to theaters was a logical progression.
Okay, so it's progress.
And yes, to answer your question, there will be a bunch of movies that we'll take to theaters, which we feel are community viewing experiences to begin with, and then bring them to the service. And we've also noticed that movies that do well in theaters also tend to do well on the service.
It's funny, the industry is backing on you all when they feel ki safe hai, OTT pe dal do, and here's Amazon Prime Video taking things to the theaters.
Yeah. And I think that now is a good opportunity for us to do this, because as Amazon Prime Video and MGM Studios, our real endeavor with the whole movies initiative is to tell good stories and take them to theaters. I think there is a bit of hesitation and tentativeness right now in the industry,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to a certain kind of movie.
Right.
And I feel those movies and those creators and those stories really need to be backed.
Yeah.
And as an organization, we are committed to backing them and to take them to theaters. Some will work, some won't. But we'd like to try and do something unique and innovative and take them to theaters. And maybe that's a better way to fail if we do,
Right.
versus just doing the tried and tested.
Right. The great thing about OTT is that producers always say audience doesn't have to know what works, what doesn't. Here, I can't make out what has worked, what doesn't. But do you all share the data with producers? Do at least they know what's working, what has worked, what has not?
A good question, Rohit, and let me give you a nuanced answer for this. There is one part where we share information with our creators on things like, what was the engagement of the show or movie like? What parts did people deeply engage with?
that's
What are
great.
the parts where you felt engagement fell down or there were drop-offs? What kind of people watched it? What demographics?
amazing,
So I think those information we do share.
Okay.
When it comes to absolute numbers, we do put out success call-outs, quite frequently when something does well. But this is also a little bit of a double-edged sword, I would say,
Yeah.
because right now the conversation in the, at least the movies business is that everything is sort of gotten boiled down to one opening weekend number.
Yeah.
So conversations at least should be around whether the movie was great, did
Great.
people like it, did you love it, did the music connect, did the emotions connect. Instead it's, what's the box office. So the moment you become too metric driven, then that sort of starts preceding
Right.
everything else. Today we're in a very beautiful place where if a show or a movie launches on Prime Video, people are saying, I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
the second season of Patal Lok, what a great show.
Right.
No one's really talking about, hey, how many viewers did it get? How does it compare to something else? And
Right.
I think that's how we should celebrate our stories
Yeah.
versus
Data.
just a commercial number. So
Right.
I think that's the advantage of not being like a public box office.
Yeah, which is open to all.
Yeah.
Because during COVID, it became a thing that it put people a habit to just watch at home, and a lot of people we know still have that habit. People still, whoever, even I talk to, always tell me, "हाँ, जब OTT पे आएगी तब देखेंगे." What should be the ideal, the best release gap between a theatrical and OTT? Have you all decided that this should be the gap? Has the industry decided? You all decided? Do you think there's an ideal proper time, or just?
I think it's a sort of joint decision to be taken between the producers, between the platform, the exhibitors, etc. And I
For
think
every release or standard?
for the movies which are releasing in theaters first.
Okay.
And I think where we are right now is at around an 8-week window,
8 weeks.
which seems ideal. It provides enough opportunity for the movie to get its share in the theaters and then come here. As things stand, that seems to be the best one. Should it be longer or shorter? It's not a decision for us to make. It's a decision to be jointly taken between multiple stakeholders, so that everyone's satisfied.
Right. How a film performs at the box office depends on your negotiations on buying movies?
I think how it performs on the service is in a lot of cases quite directly linked to how it's done on the box office. So if it's been successful at the box office, the chances are higher that it'll also do well on the service.
That's great.
But there's also the counter to that. There are some movies which don't reach their true potential in theaters, but then just break out on.
We've seen so many. Yeah.
So many, right? So, and they break out on OTTs. So it's a it's a good position to be in if you have something that's successful and it does well here. At the same time, it becomes a great second platform, even if it hasn't broken through. And that's why we feel that for us, this interplay between believing in theaters and believing in streaming is good for the ecosystem. It's good for MGM Studios and for Amazon.
Right. A few years back, the Slate announcement business started. It's a huge event that for everybody does. What is it? Is it genuinely to tell people what's coming? Is it a show of strength? What is it?
So I think the first one was in 2022 that Prime Video had done, and it was a fantastic effort by our PR and marketing teams. They just did a really, really good job. And then we followed it up in 2024 March. When we have a substantial slate and something new to announce, we use that as a moment to let our industry partners and our consumers know that this is what you can expect. But we want to basically be able to time it in a way that there is something new to say.
Okay.
So when we announced this slate in I think March of 24, we spoke about 70 new titles between originals and acquired shows and movies. And they are in the process of launching. Not all of them have still launched.
Right.
So when the time comes, we will make our next announcement about what's coming. But for us, it's always been about first keeping our consumers at heart and saying, hey, this is what you have to look forward to, so stay with us. And it also has another thing of letting the creative industry outside know that these are the kind of stories we are telling, and so bring your favorite stories to us, and we'd love to partner with you.
Nice. So now that we're in 2025, what all are you looking forward to? There's so much to talk about, but what are the few titles that come to your mind initially that people should watch out for?
I'm going to put myself out on a limb here and make sure that none of our partners say you missed out on my show.
I'll
movie,
check
Nikhil.
all that.
But let's just go with instinct here. I think this year has started really well with Patal Lok season 2. I think what Sudeep and Avinash and the entire cast have done on that show is just phenomenal. So much love for that series. Baman Irani did Mehta Boys, which has received so much love. So it's a really lovely start to the year. We have Dupaiya coming up. We have shows like Andhera, which is a horror show.
Yeah.
We have Matka King, which is Vijay Verma is headlining that show.
Right.
We have The Family Man,
Yeah,
a big
which is
one that people have sort of been looking forward to. Season 3 that should be coming through. We also have new seasons of Sudal, which is the big show in Tamil.
Right.
We have a bunch of movies in Telugu like Uppu Kappu Rambu and Chikkatelu. They're going to be releasing in the second half of the year. So across languages, a bunch of things. There are also original movies that we are going to be taking to theaters first. So Superboys of Malegaon, which is our first sort of theatrical movie. There is Subedar with Anil Kapoor, which Suresh Triveni is directing, Abhinansha is producing. So a bunch of things. I'm not even getting into all the international content that's coming in. So I feel overall, when I look at the I should talk about our big unscripted format, Traitors.
Yeah, Traitors.
That Karan Johar is hosting.
Yes.
So I feel 25 is an even stronger slate than 24 across languages, across movies and series. So really looking forward to bringing that to the world, and a good start fortunately in January, and hopefully we'll continue the momentum.
Right. In the new season, there'll always also be Call Me Bae season 2.
Call Me Bae season 2 is currently under development.
Okay, already.
And hopefully we should be able to get into production later this year.
Right. And Mirzapur season 4, we'll expect that.
Mirzapur season 4 is also in development. We've announced that. There's also Mirzapur the movie, which is under development. We announced that as well. So there are so many exciting things which are happening. Sometimes for me itself, it's a bit difficult to remember all of it. But yeah, I mean, my overall sense is 25 is going to be a really exciting year.
Right. There's Daldal, which is a movie again.
Daldal is a series that is being produced by Abhinansha.
Yeah.
Suresh Triveni is show running it, and Amrit is directing it.
Right.
And it stars Bhumi Pednekar in the lead role.
Right. And Daring Partners is.
Daring Partners is a
Dharmatic
dramatic show which has Tamanna Bhatia and Diana Penty in the lead.
Right.
We have finished shooting, and we will be launching that show this year as well.
Okay.
It's a fantastic logline, really, really entertaining. I genuinely feel that the people who liked Call Me Bae will absolutely love this show.
Okay.
So
The Revolutionaries with Nikhil Advani, that is.
That's actually not for this year because we've just gone into production.
Okay.
And that is, that has a fantastic cast, but we're going to be announcing that soon.
Okay.
I don't want to sort of jump the gun on that.
Sure. Makasam is the Mona Singh.
Makasam is Mona Singh show.
Okay. And Rangeen is? Kabir Khan Entertainment?
I'm delighted that you know my pipeline even
I
better
have
than me.
it. I have it here, right
Oh,
here.
that's
Yeah.
great. Yes, Rangeen has Vineet Kumar in the
Okay.
lead, and so a lot of these shows that I've mentioned are lined up for this year, and then some of them will spill over to the next year as well. We're just sort of finalizing the exact date schedule.
Okay. And there's Be Happy with Remo D'Souza.
Be Happy launches next month actually.
Oh, next month.
That's
Okay.
right. And Abhishek Bachchan's playing the lead role. It's a beautiful story about this father who has a lot of dreams for his daughter. And those daughter's dreams are not sort of coming through because of certain challenges. And how this father steps in to do something for her that can help her dreams come true. It's a wonderful father-daughter story. After a wonderful father-son story in Mehta Boys,
Yeah.
Be Happy is a superb father-daughter story with a sort of dance background.
Right, nice. So while what we see is what's happening in 2025, but you all have already started working on 26, 27, that's how it works?
Yes, we're always, in fact, that's one of the challenges that because creating these shows and movies takes a lot of time, we always have to think 2-3 years ahead. Not only be mindful of what consumers may be watching then, what are some of the ideas or shows or themes that may resonate with them then, and then start working on them now so that by the time we reach 26 and 27 we're actually ready with those shows. So it's a environment in which we're creating and launching something now, but at the same time we're also thinking in the long term over the next sometimes even beyond 3 years of what is going to be relevant and engaging content and stories and trying to bring them to life.
Wow. You all play a very big role in entertaining people, which people think is a very light job. It's a huge job of entertaining people at a time when they want to break free from everything and just sit at home and watch something with the family. You all are doing it so well. Thank you for that, and thank you
very
for the
much.
interview.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Rohit.
Thank you.